Adar, Abhinandan, Abhar. Namaskar and a very good morning to all the viewers. This is Arpita Shrivastava Rai welcoming you all to this Atmanirbhar Bharat vocational learning platform to enrich you all on this Sunday morning with an interesting topic, hiring trends on 2021, a session dedicated to all the administrators, placement officers of college and universities and our students. Friends, as you know, as COVID-19 continues to sweep the nation and the world, and the business are looking for ways to stay productive in the face of unprecedented challenges. The pandemic has shifted a major sector of the workforce in ways we have not anticipated, and that's how we are over here to highlight how to adapt and survive this systemic shift and hiring practices that have changed overnight, facing on recruiting trends in the work of COVID-19. And therefore, let me start the session with a very interesting quote by Mr. Eric Torregon, who is the VP and Assistant Head of a Global HR for Avicona Brake Corporation, when he says, I think this is the beginning of the most exciting period we have ever been a part of. People are forcing to figure out how to pour their passion into it. The world has been getting ready for this for a while, and we have been moving to an online world, a gig economy towards remote work groups. In the next 20 to 30 years, this world is going to change a lot of people and are going to come back to this time and ask, who were the people that made the difference? And I think they are going to look back at HR people and say they are the ones who led us through this. So with that, let me welcome our resource person, Mr. Tamilselvan Mahalingam, who is the founder and the CEO of the Future Captains, who is going to enlighten you all today morning. Before I call upon, let me give a short introduction about him. Well, as I said, he's the founder and the CEO of the Future Captains, an entrepreneur, a motivational speaker, a youth mentor, and a career evangelist. Well, as far as his specialization is concerned, he is a career guidance and a planner coach at tech product development, skill development, workforce management, rural youth employment, and teaching faculty developments are his domains, and would like to highlight his work experience. Building a social enterprise, guided more than 1,000 students, freshers, and professionals through the personalized continuous career planning model. Worked with 25 years of work experience in educational institutions on providing career planning for the senior secondary, UG, and PG students. He's himself an HR professional, had worked for Continent, Wipro, Havexware Technologies, and so on. So not taking much of time, let me welcome Mr. Tamilselvan on the ANB platform. Welcome, Mr. Selvan.
Yeah, thank you so much, Arpita, for a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. Okay, can I start?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay, cool. So good morning, everyone. And I think this is a wonderful platform and a wonderful time also to talk about the hiring trends, especially the lockdowns are kind of, waiting at our doorstep right now. And as Arpita mentioned, I am a HR professional myself and also an entrepreneur working on the domain of career technology, where we work with education institutions, both schools and colleges, in helping the students find the right career path. All right, and so that's what we've been doing for the last 4 years, and here we go. So we'll start with a quick introduction to the disruptions that has happened in our economy or in our daily life for the last 1.5 years, right? This image, can anyone tell me what exactly you understand by this image? What do you understand by this image?
The transformation which has been done actually since last 10 years due to technology.
Okay,
and
transformation. Okay. Okay. Anybody else would like to give it a shot?
Technology transfer, and that technology transfer leads to more automation and
Correct.
more people. No, so the tagline shows like that: cameraman and the pilot lost their jobs in 10 years. And moreover, we are into the hands of artificial intelligence.
Now you know that now there are drone pilots. No longer you require a helicopter pilot to do video shots. There are drone pilots who can operate the drone from ground, right? I mean, so the job itself has transformed. Though the pilot has lost the job, but there is another role that has been created. So whenever there is a new technology, there are new jobs, new roles, new skills that are always required. So that is something that we have to keep in mind throughout the session. We need to understand things from a right perspective, where when we are talking about technology disruption, or when we are talking about any downside or upside, there is always the advantage and disadvantage that are associated with any kind of change that we are going to go through. Okay, so the digital adoption, this is the 2020 data on the left hand side and 2021 data on the right hand side. All right, can anyone tell me what is the delta between 2020 and 2021? What is the big change over? Which parameter has changed the huge number in the last 1 year?
Active involvement of social media usage.
Correct, exactly. So this means that a lot of people have gone on digital platform to express themselves or even communicate, to interact with people, because last 1 year people have been in isolation, right? So a lot of people have gone on social media, but this also means a lot of people from the rural background also have moved into social media, right? So digital adoption, as the Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, he said, like, what should have happened in 10 years happened in about 2 years. So we are actually in the future right now. So what should have happened 10 years later, the projected adoption of digital technology by our people, it happened in 2 years. A lot of people bought laptops and mobile phones in the last 1.5 years, right? So this is what has happened in the last 1 year. And what this means is, eventually traditional business was driven by pipeline. So there was this manufacturer, and there was this distribution warehouse person, then there was retailer, then the consumer, right? But today, how do people buy OnePlus phone or any mobile phone? How do we buy it? How do we buy mobile phone? Do we walk into a showroom and buy mobile phone, or do
No,
we
it
have
should
a
be
different mechanism?
electronic mode.
How do we do it?
That's by using
Can
Moreover,
you explain?
from
Online purchase.
online sites like Amazon or any other place.
Flipkart,
Correct.
Amazon, or
So how do
yeah.
they operate? What is that they do? What does Amazon do?
Here the supply chain is getting entirely different and changed.
Correct. So how important that changes in a traditional economical system, where the company had to put a margin for the distribution has to put a margin for retail, the retail has to put a margin for the end consumer. So there was the 10 paisa product became 10 rupees. We used to read about Coca-Cola, right? A 10 paisa per bottle, it became 10 rupees, and that's how they say that Coca-Cola value is derived, because most of the money goes into the middleman. But when it comes to a platform economy, the middleman is completely removed, where the platform connects the end user and the organization, right? Right. So this is what has happened, and this is happening in everything from hotel booking to travel booking to buying groceries to ordering foods to booking cabs. Everything is now getting into the platform economy. And if you want to, can I request everybody to go on mute? It's a little distracting. Thank you so much. Yeah. right? If you look at platform economy, there are four types of platform economies, right? You have to pay attention to all these. You might think that, I am a professor, I'm a teacher, why should I know about all these things? I think all of us have the right to know, and it's very important to know that the world of work is changing. If you are thinking that core engineering companies are going to come at your doorstep and they're going to take students from you, that is going to change. If you think IT companies are going to come and hire students from you, that is going to change. So if we don't understand the economy and how the shift is happening, and if we are trying to then we'll all become dinosaurs. So um, if you have any questions, please do ask me, and I'm more than happy to explain. But this is quintessential for you to understand. So platform economy has four different types of business models. One is the e-commerce, where Amazons and the Flipkarts of the world do operate. What they do is they basically give you a shopping space. You come and set up your store, and then you basically connect, and they provide the logistics, and they deliver the product to the customer's doorstep, right? That is number one. Number two is intermediation platform like Airbnb. So you have a house and you want to rent a room to somebody, and you put it on Airbnb, and Airbnb basically connects you and the end user, and they basically help you to, what do you say, make money through the platform. So they just operate like an intermediator, right? Sharing economy, Ola, Uber, they don't own anything, right? I think Airbnb can also qualify for sharing economy. So they don't own anything, but then they just connect the end user with the owner. Like the car owner is somebody, and the car owner drives the car to your destination, and just pay for that particular trip to that person, and that's it. So that is sharing economy. Redistribution is where we have this drop shipping, and we have heard about these terms, right? So we basically collect, we change the package, and we then redistribute. Amazon has this model. In fact, you can become what do you say, redistributor in Amazon. You can buy it at a low cost. You can buy salwars or kurtas from some other part of the country, buy it at low cost, and then you can package it and redistribute it using the platform economy. So I think Misho is a platform that does redistribution today. So this is how anybody can venture, and today everybody is given the equality to make money, right? Each of us can choose our own way, our own speed, time to make money today. That's how the industry is getting disrupted. Okay, so this is what we have seen about how the marketplace and industry has changed. Now we need to understand the workforce dynamics, right? Last 10 years, like since 2011, the number of jobs that are being posted in job advertisements with digital skills are increasing. Can anyone tell me what is digital skill? Any example of digital skill? We all talk about digital skills, right? Everybody talks about it. What is digital skill?
Usability of
Okay, what is digital literacy? Sorry?
usability of digital platforms, how to use those services or the platforms or the apps.
Give me an example.
Like suppose if we talk about this thing, internet banking, so people should know how to actually use it, where to go, how to log in, how to log out, how to send the request, how to send likewise.
Okay. Is that digital literacy or digital skill?
Of course, it's a digital literacy, not the skill.
Okay, what is digital skill?
It contains a paradigm. Actually, it contains an ecosystem about that who all are in this particular system in regard to digital platforms, digital, of course, websites and digital apps also. They need to be
Correct.
They need to be more and more into a lot of other things also, other knowledge also on this particular digital platforms. It's not only that we are talking about only the internet banking. There should be more and more towards the social media marketing. There should be more about the usability of even the platforms like Zoom or other platforms, IT platforms, where they can actually go for a video conference at all. So it contains usually the system where
Brilliant.
they can use for themselves and for others also.
Brilliant. So today, learning to use Zoom and using all the features, learning to know, what feature has to be used when. Like when should I use annotate? When should I use video sharing? When should I mute every participant? These are two features that's given in Zoom as a tool. And knowing how to use Zoom for video conferences or webinars or seminars or whatever it is called as a digital skill, right? So there is a digital tool that is MS Excel, or it could be Google Documents, it could be CRM package, it could be, it could be even Facebook for that matter, Facebook advertisements. All these things are digital tools, and knowing how to use those tools call for digital skills. Is that clear to all of us? Yeah. Okay. So the pointer that we need to keep in mind is the importance given to digital skills is going up and up and up. And last 1.5 years, that has skyrocketed. Today, I don't think anybody is being hired without digital skills, right? In fact, I recently hired a person for my team. The first thing I had to tell them or train them is how to communicate on a digital platform, how to collaborate over a digital platform, and I have to train them on that. And if somebody is on the placement front, if any TPOs are here, and if you're looking to place students with companies, and if you're not trained the students on digital skills, we might be in a problem. And training students thinking that they know Instagram, they know Facebook, so they have digital skills, I think we are mistaken there. Digital skills are not just about knowing to use Google Documents or knowing to use Facebook. Yes, they are important, but beyond that, they have to start delivering outcomes to their end user. So that is what digital skill is all about. Now, another important dynamic change that has happened is today I can work from India. Today we are serving students in Middle East as we speak. This was not possible 1.5 years ago, and I can collect payments directly from Middle East today, and I can collect their payments directly from the US today. So this means I can sit at any part of the globe. I can use these payment gateways and receive money from any part of the globe. Right? How interesting is that? This was not possible a few years ago. Today it is possible. I just have to go into one of the website, like as a, we have Fiverr or guru.com or freelancer, elance.com. There are many websites. So you can go and subscribe there, and you can opt for a service, opt as a service provider. And anybody who buys the service is going to come from any part of the globe. They could be from Ukraine, they could be from Japan, any part of the globe. And you can make money sitting right at your place, and you don't have to really have to worry about knowing the local culture or anything. You just do your service and you get paid for it. And that is what is also changing today. So this also means if I don't get the talent that I want in the job market that I'm looking at, I might as well go and hire from a third world country. Like I can go to Africa, or I can go into Vietnam, or any Southeast Asian country or Middle East, and hire the person that I want and still get my work done, right? So that's what's happening. As Arpita mentioned in her introduction, talking about gig, anybody could tell me what a gig is? What is gig economy? Example of gig economy?
People can do freelancing based upon their skills. They can fit to any of the job they can make.
Okay, but what is the difference between freelancing and gig? Is there a difference? Do you see a difference between freelancing and gig? No? Okay, so most of it is like they have used it interchangeably. Wherein, if you look at a gig economy, right? Today, Swiggy is a gig economy. So, which means a guy can actually choose to work, say, 3 hours delivering food packages, and choose to study for 3 hours for his college exams, and then do 3 hours of drop shipping or reselling on Amazon.com. So, as part of gig economy, he chooses how to utilize his time. right? The same freedom comes for a freelancer as well, but the minor difference that you one can put between a gig economy person and a freelance person is, here a freelancer has a higher depth of skill, whereas a gigger might be using a platform to deliver something. They might not really possess a great amount of skill in anything. Do you understand the difference? A freelance trainer has to have a lot of depth of knowledge about the subject matter and what they are dealing with. But whereas to be a Swiggy delivery boy, I just need a bike. You understand the difference between gig and freelancing? Is that clear?
Yeah, it is very much clear, I feel.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool. One request is just keep interacting with me, because I don't know whether I'm audible, and we are all, especially on video calls, I have become extremely attention seeking, right? So forgive me for that. So please do keep giving me some kind of a response. Otherwise, I lose my energy. Okay. All right. So some of the things that we need to keep understand is, uh, there even the software developers have got into the gig roles, and the salaries, the money that they get paid is enormous, right? I mean, today, if you're somebody who's a blockchain developer or getting into any of these high-end tools that you know how to operate or use, I think you get reasonably paid well. And you get to say somebody's working like um, 20 days a month, and they work about 3 hours a day. That's about 60 hours, right? And 60 hours into 5,000, you do the math, right? That's what people get paid if you're really good at what you do. So a college graduate or a fresher not necessarily have to work towards getting a full-time employment in an Infosys or a Cognizant or an Amazon or a HCL. Tomorrow, if institutions can groom students to be part of the gig economy, that's a big changeover, that's a big transformation. And trust me, if an institution can transform students to be part of the gig economy, I think your institution is already set for the next 20 years. You're going to survive, right? And those who are not going to adapt to that, and those who are not preparing their students for the gig world, they are going to let down the students. At the same time, their institution is also going to get affected because of not ready for the paradigm shift. Okay. So, and one of the things that we need to consider when we are looking at digital skills is, digital skills provide a huge amount of protection against automation. Why? Because the digital tool is the automation, and you become the tool operator. So if you have learned Google Documents, which is already automated some amount of manual work, like, because Google Documents help you share work and instead of emailing each other, and it saves a lot of time. So if somebody knows how to use Google Documents, and if you are able to do that properly, you're already protected yourself against automation. Okay. I'm just giving you a crude example. I'll give you some more examples of digital tools. Like, for example, there are productivity softwares, there are programming tools. Okay, excellent. Can you go on mic?
Request others, please mute yourself. Andrika P, please mute yourself.
I think you can mute. No, the admin can mute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So there are software programming tools that is also part of the digital skill. So people think that programming languages are digital skills, okay, which is true, but not all digital skills are programming languages. So we should be clear about that. And we use a CRM called HubSpot, and knowing digital marketing is also an important digital skill today, right? So if you are looking at enabling your students for the future marketplace, or the to be future ready, I think just we should also look at other digital tools, like training them on CRM, or training them on digital marketing tools, or training them in collaborative tools, productivity tools. It's quintessential, because I see most of the institutions are focusing on training them on data science, artificial intelligence, Java. See, not everybody's tuned to be programmers. I think all of us will agree that, right? And those who cannot program are not if I may put it in a very crude manner, are not fools, right? And we need to have that clarity that everybody has a place and a role in this new world order, and if we can give them the right tools, I think they will also find a way to survive in the job market, right? And that is what I think today's freshers are also yearning for. They come to me saying that, sir, I cannot program, I cannot code, but what are the other jobs that I can do? Sir, I'm not a good orator, I cannot go and speak publicly, I'm not very good in marketing or sales. What could I do with an MBA degree? So people come with such things. I think the important thing is to teach them some of the tools that are there so that they can go find a job and they can slowly get started in the domain that they're interested in, right? Okay, so, and this is probably one of the most important slides that you would want to see and understand, which is basically giving you a prediction of what kind of skills will get automated, right? The big green dots are the ones that will get automated quickly. The small green dots will eventually become. The lowest probability of automation are the ones in the red big dots, right? Big red dots are the ones that will have the lowest probability of automation. Now, if you look at creativity, logical reasoning, problem solving, generating novel patterns, social and emotional sensing. So these kind of skills, when we are inculcating in our children, they are going to survive the future. They are going to be more relevant in the future. But if we think that learning a tool and they just finally become tool operators, but they are not become thinkers. But if you observe this chart very closely, the people who will survive automation are going to be really good thinkers, not just doers, right? World needs thinkers too. I think we have spent good amount of time preparing doers. I know we want order takers, without questioning. Yes, we have done that successfully. We have created a huge labor workforce that will not question you anything. But today's generation is not that. They are going to question you every time. So now what we need to do is we need to empower them with some of these thinking skills so that they become a thinking doer, which is very, very important in the future. They need to be cognizant of what impacts they will create by what things that they do. So this is going to be very, very important as a educationalist, administrator, or training placement officer. We need to create thinking doers in our institutions. Okay, some of the looming problems. India has a huge talent shortage problem. The global average is 54%, and India has 56%, which means 56% of the employers that Manpower Corporation surveyed, they have difficulty filling jobs, right? And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are now looking to get people off their. See, now if I'm finding it difficult to fill full-time roles, I will still have to run my business, right? So for my survival, I look for alternatives. And that's what is happening today to a lot of businesses. So if you're struggling to get people as a full-time employee in company, it's not because they don't have a job opportunity. It's because they have figured out a way to get away and run their business without taking your manpower, right? And mind you, we are going to see a lot of hybrid jobs, which means that will require somebody to have music knowledge, programming knowledge, and MS Excel knowledge. So every role will require multi-dimensional personalities. So I think our institutions are still not there, and if the institutions are not really reading this, I would say writing on the wall, as I would put it, if you are missing the signs and if you are thinking that tomorrow will be a better day and things will be taken care, I think some of us are waking up to a day that we are realizing that everything has gone beyond our control now, right? So few months from now, the companies will start hiring local population across countries, and they will run their businesses thanks to payment gateways and internet and every digital adoption that we have seen in the global scale. That some of our students are not going to get those jobs because they were not prepared with the right skills and the right frame of mind to take up those job roles. Okay, so And another paradox that we have been observing, we have close to about few hundred jobs with us right now. And when I talk to placement officers, they complain that students are not interested in applying for jobs. Does anybody face that kind of a problem with your institution? Students not showing real interest to come and apply for jobs? Are you facing that, or have you faced it? Anybody?
Please share your experiences on that. That will be better actually, I feel.
Any training and placement officer on the forum? Or any HOD?
We have.
Yeah, Rajesh Kumar. Yeah, please go ahead. Oh, I thought he's going to say something. Okay. So this is something that we are seeing. And when I spoke to a few of my HR friends, they were saying that about 70% of the job offers, the students don't honor it, right? So for example, if the offer is given to 100 students, only 30 come on join the company, 70 doesn't, right? And this is from some of the biggest institutions in the country. Okay, so we have seen such a thing, and there was this in 2017 or 18, one of the private universities, a company like a big software services company went and hired about 1,400 students, right? Only 200 went and joined that company, a big IT services company, right? And we seeing such trend that problem is looming, and because of these kind of issues, companies are resisting to go back to campus hiring. And again, we have missed the opportunity to groom the students and help them understand the importance of campus placement and why this kind of a service is important to them. And I think that kind of mental preparation is not there with the students, and one of the reasons why these kind of issues are there. We don't see students coming forward to take up jobs, and today people are so spoiled for choices, right? So something that we need to kind of keep in mind. And another area where I think higher education institutions should be very, very careful is there are going to be more online degrees. There are going to be more certification providers, training companies, online certifications, who are going to compete with you. So because the question that people ask is degree necessary, right? If I have the skill, do I still need a qualification? I think there are very few professions in our country that requires a qualification. Like for example, if I have to administer medicine or a medical procedure, I need to be a doctor, and I need to finish an MBBS degree, and I have to enroll in the medical council, right? Likewise, to be a lawyer, to practice law, I need to enroll in the bar council. So those are the qualifications that people require. And if I have to audit a company, I have to become a CA. So there are very few career disciplines that require qualification. The rest all can do away with qualification, just focus on skill. So most of the engineers turn out to be software programmers, for which they don't need an engineering degree, right? And this is something that the companies are also aware, and why they didn't really bother for many years was a 4-year undergraduate degree got them visa to the US so quickly, right? And that's why the companies are also okay to go and hire them. But if you look at it, now a lot of companies are okay to hire 3-year degree holders like the BScs and MScs, or even BAs for that matter, and they train them. Right, Zoho School today, they take 12th pass students and they groom them, and they absorb these candidates within their company. So there are new models evolving, and higher education institutions are going to be threatened by these entities. And this is also something that we need to keep in mind, that just like how Nokia was a competitor for Canon. Canon was a camera maker, but Nokia came up with a camera phone, and they ruled the roost for some few years. So we don't know where our competition is going to come from, and higher education institutions are threatened a lot more today because of these entities. And the students and the parents are questioning, is degree mandatory? And if the new education policy comes into full implementation, then after first year they get a certificate, second year they get a diploma, third year or fourth year they get a degree certificate. So there is a lot of flexibility that's built into it. So a student might walk in and walk out of an institution just like he goes into a shopping mall, and that might give you a lot of change resistance and change management that for education institutions. So something that we need to be mindful about. Okay, so a question to all of you. You saw the issues that I just portrayed on my slides. So what would happen if these problems continue? What do you think will happen to our economy and the education institutions?
I request there is a placement advisor from PSREC if we can actually convey some of the experience of it.
Yeah, sure.
Tamil, hi, this is Benedict here. Can you
Hi,
just
Benedict.
rephrase this question? Hi. Can you just rephrase this question, like what would happen if these problems continue?
See, for example, there is a talent shortage, and the companies are going forward to take more people off the roll, and which means they are going to hire more freelancers or gig workers or temporary workers. And one side, we are seeing that students are not really taking up job offers while there are jobs available, right? And higher education institutions are threatened by certification providers, and the relevance of degree itself is questioned. So these are prevalent problems or looming problems. Now, if these problems continue, what would be the situation for education institutions, to the students and to the economy, is my question.
All right. So I'll try and kind of answer that slightly differently, but
Sure.
certainly I think this is a very valid question. So a couple of pointers are like business is going to be as usual. Okay. College institutions are going to kind of keep hiring. I mean, enrolling their students, and they're going to kind of pass out. And I think that's going to be the run of the mill. But the larger question is, which I thought I can answer or park it towards the end of the conversation, is if you see the last 2 years, the last year and the current year, I think almost all of the students are going through the online mode. In fact, for my son, who did his 10th in ICSE board, I think the modem through which they kind of do the online training is kind of weaning out. I think there is a possibility that the mode through which they kind of teach is not delivering, or the candidates are not participating. The same is applicable for also the engineering students. Like now the question is, are the hiring companies still kind of go through the same modus operandi of going through the 85% of marks or the 70% of marks as a cutoff for intake in terms of applying for jobs, or are they kind of relaxing? Point number one. Point number two is basically this is basically from the experience which I kind of speak right now, because I also do a lot of hiring. Like market is kind of pretty open right now. Okay,
Right.
for the from the 4 years upwards to up till 15 years, right? And I'm quite surprised there is so much of jobs available that people have 3 or 4 offers at their hand and go keep shopping. But that is not the case when compared to a fresher hiring. I see a lot of freshers actually calling up and asking, sir, do you have an opportunity? Is there a possibility for me to kind of get to? I think that's a slightly different kind of a paradigm shift which are kind of facing. And that's another question which I'm keeping it open. I'm sure that, the colleges would need to also address, the companies would need to kind of also address that. And the last thing is that, not all of them are kind of trained to do a software job, or not all of them are getting that high-fly jobs. Like, so what's the next run which they would need to kind of look at? Like, a very valid point which you did mention, the digital, digital literacy or digital education or digital job doesn't need only coding, but is there alternative ways of how they can kind of look at? I think that's something which the entire fraternity would need to kind of address, if I can say that, both in terms of the companies, the colleges, the institutions, and etc. I think that's the best way to kind of look at it. And the last point with regarding to the gig economy, which you kind of did mention, Tamil, like the gig is slightly kind of a different scenario. You gave a good comparison between a gig and a freelancer, right? My understanding is from a gig standpoint of view, a person who is technically very competent, who has a good knowledge in terms of the entire full stack development, or in terms of domain, will really kind of make a good impact in terms of gig. But gig, I personally feel would kind of be only for an experienced person who is somewhere around for 5 years, 10 years. I hire a lot of gigs also for my particular project from a consulting standpoint of view. So these are gigs who are basically guys who are working for another company and kind of do that as a part time, or they are basically freelancers who take 3 or 4 projects. Like. So by and large, I think it's very important from a closing statement, my standpoint of view. People would, I mean, the students community would need to be more vigilant than what they were earlier, because the competition is kind of increasing, and in terms of the modem, in terms of how they're going to kind of hire is also changing. Right now, for example, you have a lot of these interviews happening on the Zoom, right? A lot of interviews are happening on the MS Teams. Now the guy needs to be kind of well prepared. The guy needs to be kind of making himself cognizant that this is going to be a video call, and then his presentation skills are going to be making a huge impact out here, right? It's not going to be the traditional way of face-to-face sitting and he's asking relevant questions. And the interviewer just got only 2 minutes to capture the audience. If he's not impressing the 2 minutes, I think that he's lost his job. It's more so ever in this video conferencing and also this online interviews which are happening, like, right? So by and large, I think people, the students need to be kind of be more focused and take up challenges on their stride. I'm sure that there are a lot of people who kind of help them out and take it forward.
Okay, thank you so much. That was quite elaborate, and yeah, thank you for sharing your thoughts, Benedict. Okay, so I'll just quickly run you through some of the things that we need to be careful or also be watchful about the kind of jobs or demands that will be arising. So there is this wonderful analysis that was done by the US Labor Ministry, and they came up with 10 jobs that will be going out of the equation in the next 10 years. And those jobs are, that includes telemarketers and news analysts and reporters, accountants and human resources assistants. There are these jobs that they have predicted that they will kind of slowly phase out and they will not be relevant anymore. That will be taken over by automation. Right, we are already seeing some of those jobs taken over by automation, especially accountants. I think some of that has already been doing rounds. And the jobs that will actually gain more momentum, as you see on the screen, we need more, statisticians, data scientists, film editors, software developers, software testers, interpreters and translators. So these are the jobs that we will see, or rather have more gains in the next 10 years, right? And this is the changeover that we are going to see till 2029. And one of the major part of the demand, or rather the cause and effect as we call it, for the talent shortage is that close to about 18% of the applicants 18% of the jobs don't have a single applicant. That's what they say. And if you look at the table on the left hand side, the applicants lack required hard skills and applicant lack required soft skills. The 34% put together is something that the colleges can fix today. But unfortunately, what happens is, I will definitely give you some suggestions on how to go about it. But unfortunately, I don't think the academia industry gap doesn't allow them to really read the industry needs, and they just go by what skills are more in demand, rather than what is something that that the student is equipped to do. Right, we have to go from the student angle towards the job market rather than the reverse. So most of the time we go with what is popular, and the student is not able to keep up with the change, right? And this is what is happening. And the soft skills is something that is much required today than ever, because now we are communicating virtually most of the time, and that those sensitivities and sensibilities are required far more today, right? And there's nobody to teach you how to do that today, and it's virtually, it's even more difficult. So education institutions should definitely focus on that. On the right hand side, these are the jobs that are actually getting even more difficult to fill. IT jobs are getting difficult to fill. There are absolutely, I think the hit rate, if I remember correctly, is about 1 to 10. 1 is to 10. Out of 10 applicants, they get one shortlist or something like that, right? And that's sales professional. Nobody wants to get into sales, right? And getting quality engineers are a big problem. So these are some of the jobs that are still difficult. There are job opportunities, but companies are finding it difficult to fill the positions. An interesting thing that I did was I took up the company database, the companies that was incorporated in 2020, and there were about 1.8 lakh companies that were incorporated in 2020. And if you look at it, most of it, if it belongs to business services and manufacturing. Now, this means that there are new companies that have come into the market, which means they need people, but we don't know how to go and target them. They will be looking for people, but we are sitting in one side just focusing on the multinational companies. So who are going to serve these new companies, the startups and the MSMEs who are looking for people? But no, I don't think the education institutions are really open to take such companies, because if the company has only one or two requirements or fresher requirements, very rarely people really consider such requests, especially in the campus scenario, right? So the ability to welcome the the smaller companies with the smaller requirements should also be something that the education institutions should accommodate in the near future, if they have to give a wide variety of opportunities to their students. And where are the companies are getting created? If you look at this table, this is January to March 2021. Majority of the companies have been incorporated in the top 10 states, which is Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, Karnataka, Gujarat, till Kerala, right? And if you look at Maharashtra is more than rest of India, which are the other states, right? And this is what is just Q1 of 2021. And they have already incorporated 54,000 plus companies in 3 months, right? Which is like, in no time they will go past the last year's track record. So which means more startups are emerging, more new companies are getting incorporated, and this is a great opportunity for us to cash in on. And this also gives you another insight. Most of the companies are getting incorporated in the northern part of the country, which means Hindi is an essential language. If you are from the southern state and if you want to keep away Hindi, that's going to be a big problem, because the mobility of the student is restricted. Because of the language barrier, they are not going to go out of the town. They're not going to go out of the state. And how much of opportunity a single state can provide, it's very difficult, right? So you have to go where there is opportunity, and that is precisely what is missing out. And training them in languages, regional or national languages, is very, very important. So please do consider this as well as an important takeaway. And how is the supply? This table is 2016 data, but very clear indication that more and more students are getting into higher education, which is a great thing. And this also means we are going to have a huge supply, and catering to the supply is already there. There is enough demand to, if I, as I told you, there is enough demand to cater to the supply. But unfortunately, the mapping is not happening. So the student with good marks, with complete no arrears, they still come out, they settle for something less, right? There is a statistics that says about 80% of our workforce is underemployed. 80%. You know what underemployed is, right? Because people whose qualification doesn't match with the job that they do. So most of the time they have to do something that is below their rank. Okay, so this is what is happening today. And if you do a job that you are not supposed to do, most likely you are unhappy and you are stressed, and that's probably why the healthcare sector is always booming, right? Because you're perennially stressed out and unhappy, which is causing various ailments in the human body. So this has a huge connection. And if you want a good, energetic, young talent pool to be utilized properly, I think institutions, higher education institutions, should start playing the demand supply mapping role, and they cannot just be a recruitment agency or a connecting agency for the industry. I think they have to start playing a very different role than just bringing companies for campus hiring. I think the role of institutions are bound to change, and again, survival of the fittest, and only the fittest survive in the future. I'll skip this slide. I think if we spoke more about it, the campus hiring challenges, as a lot of this research is done by Mercer, and they came up with this 38.85% is the joining ratio, right? And this is bad. Which is, if I give offer to 100 students, only 38 actually come and join, and 70% they don't. right? And which is a problem. And what will happen to the companies that have spent 10 hours, 12 hours doing all the higher screening, GD, and interviewing and everything, and finally they don't get students, and this is a problem, right? And then again, the right screening assessments, I think most of the time, the small companies, right? Big companies will have all the amenities and the army to carry out these operations, but the small companies won't have such facilities. So the colleges should start giving them such features so that it helps small companies to hire from them, right? And that is also something that, of course, we can talk about that later. But that's an area where I think there's a huge, I would say a consideration is required by institutions. They need to start doing screening at the campus interview level itself for small companies. They should give that facility for the companies. And right, the brand visibility with students before placement, I think bringing companies to come and talk to the students and making sure that the student knows these companies, because small companies, many people won't be aware, and that's one of the reasons why they don't actually go and really what do you say, apply for those companies. That's one of the reasons why they get a poor turnout. So these are some of the important challenges, and I think these all can be mitigated with some proper planning. And now that you know that these problems exist, maybe it's time for us to revisit the approach and probably do it better in 2021 and forward, right? I'm also skipping this. I'm just coming to the industry outlook, and I think so far we saw about uh, the the disruptions that we have seen in the market, and we spoke about the skill requirement of the workforce dynamics. We also spoke about the looming problems that are there in the job market or in the economy, and we spoke about where the opportunities are coming from. And now, as a final fag end, we are also going to look at what kind of industries are going to look up, and where is the growth, right? Um, this is taken from Dun and Bradstreet. They have done an analysis last year. I'm using the same because this is still relevant. Despite the lockdown and everything, consider that the short term, the column, that's under short term, will have the quickest bounce back, because education institutions still run. Though collecting fees is a bigger challenge, but they're able to run. Coaching centers still make business, right? I think Byju's and Akash and all these companies are still making a lot of money, right? And of course, retail, though today retail might be difficult for small players, but thanks to Dunzo and Swiggy and Uber Eats and other facilities that are making sure that delivery is happening for these people, right? And so the quickest bounce back during the pandemic or a lockdown is going to be those in the left hand extreme, right? But the ones that will take a longer time will be your printing, advertisement, automotive, banking, event organizers, because you're not, public gathering is not allowed, multiplexes. So anybody who has a shop in the mall or a mall oriented business, I think they are going to be in deep trouble. Jewelry, tourism, hospitality have suffered a great deal in the last 1.5 years. So if you're getting your students prepared for some of these core areas, we need to look at alternatives and prepare them mentally to look for jobs that will not require their qualification but still be good enough, right? So that again requires a deeper conversation, and maybe something that future captains can help you with as well. Okay. And some of the areas where you can see enormous amount of growth is gaming, and that will grow because gaming is now seeing a huge importance in edutech space. Ayurveda, Siddha, yoga, because health is very important now. OTT platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, content, anybody who's into the entertainment business, they will also see good amount of takers, especially if you are into the movies and motion picture industry. right? Green tech is another area, battery cars and others, because now I think all of us have woken up to the fact that we have done enough damage to the environment and we need to really take care of the environment. So these are the growth sectors. And the sectors to watch out for 2021: pharma, healthcare, IT, ITS, infrastructure, and chemical industry. Because of the pandemic, there is the need for all these things. So oxygen is the buzzword for the last couple of weeks. So chemical industry are seeing a huge surge in demand, and they have a brisk business now. So infrastructure, again, because of new capacities, new hospitals have to be built for the rural population. So infrastructure will be something that will be growing continuously. Like what happened for railways last year, the entire year the railways actually went off to redo their tracks, and today trains are running at a higher speed than 2019. So yeah, infrastructure is also something that you can look at. All right, so some of the things, that suggestions that I have for the higher education institutions is, it's important to detag placements from admissions. I think it's a very important exercise that colleges have to mindfully do it. We have been living with this for about 2 decades, but slowly I think undoing that is also an important strategy for institutions. If somebody does not do that, and if you don't have a metric for placements in 2 years from now, then the education institution might not be considered by many students. So this means one has to become a center of excellence, like an Indian Institute of Science, or Tata Institute of Social Studies, or whatever, right? So you need to really look at uh, becoming a center of excellence for a particular course or an education standards, than just becoming providing placements. So if institutions are not moving into the excellence space or innovation space, most likely they'll be phased out. So that is something that one is required. And the institutions have to incentivize students for finding jobs themselves, which means the job of placement office will not be in finding them jobs, but in preparing them for jobs, right? So that they will find their bread and butter. So that's very important. And as I told you, coding skills are digital skills, but the vice versa is not true. So digital skills is much wider. So we need to look at finding the right tools for the right student, so that we can train them and help them find relevance in the job market. And of course, soft skills are no longer software. We call it power skills these days. So soft skills have to have prominence today. And education institutions, if you think that it's a jolly hour, or a fun hour in a classroom period, I think we have not been paying attention to what's happening around us. So soft skills are mandatory, and we have to really take that seriously. And some ideas that I would suggest the education institutions to implement: think of bucketing the student, maybe third year, second year, pre-final year. Look at understanding their interest and potential, and according to that, you map them and help them understand the job market, and find opportunities that is relevant to that. Say, for example, there's an engineering student. The engineering student can get into product development, product design, product testing, sales and marketing, IT, R&D, or education teaching, or even operations, project management. There are many fields, research and development. So you have to find out, if there is an engineering student, whether he's getting into sales and marketing or design or development. We need to understand the potential, and according to that, we need to groom them with skills, so that when they graduate, they become job ready. So bucketing the students is very important. So that's an idea that I would like you to consider. Make the student prepare a portfolio, evidence for every skill that they possess. That's another important thing that I think education institutions must do, and must enforce on the students. Implement project-based learning. We have been working on project-based learning concepts for the last 2 years, and it's a very interesting concept. If anybody is interested in trialing out in your institution, this is the best time to do so. So this is nothing but teaching a subject by making them do a real-world project. So that's what project-based learning is. And this way, you are engaging the student, at the same time you are also teaching, and both is happening at the same time. So because of which the student might really become skilled, and become employable, right? Investing in job search skills. Interview skills are good, but I think the need of the hour is job search skills. Teaching students how to search for job, is something that is grossly missing in educational institutions. So something that if you can invest time, that is again is going to benefit you. And if you're going to come up with an incentive plan to help students to find jobs themselves, I think you're slowly detagging placement and admissions, and that way students are going to be thankful to you, because they, when the biggest side effect of not training them on job search skills is the first job you will get it from the college, but after they graduate, they don't know how to go about it. They get stuck, right? They have to go now. Most of the students will take resort in going for higher education and then come back to another placement opportunity, right? So one of the reasons that students take up higher education is to make sure that the campus placement gives them opportunity directly after they graduate, right? Because most of them are not equipped with job search skills, which is a sad thing. And this is not entirely true, but this is happening today. So I think this is an important point. And bell curve, you know, there are these 20% of the students who will find everything themselves, or they won't need your help. And there is this 20% who will not, even if you help them, they won't really care, right? And there is this 60% that will require all the attention. I think we need to really cull out, as I told you, the bucketing the students. We need to really cull out the 60%, identify the 60%, and work with them. And that is the game plans to make the placement effective and efficient. So my session is done, and the final quote that I would like to leave you with is, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And if you are interested, we can join hands, and we at Future Captains, we've been developing systems and processes. We are a tech company, and we have technology that can support in the hiring process. So we have come up with something called as a cloud placement office, which is a subscription based model. So a student pays an annual subscription to get job opportunities, just like Netflix or Ola. So if we consider 2021, 2020, 2019 batch students also who have graduated from your college, so we can support your institution, and we can help them find opportunities. And their biggest advantage is, they don't have to worry about getting interviews, which is we are going to take care of. They don't have to worry about if they get rejected, they won't know why they are getting rejected. So that is also something that we are going to provide. And we give them career assessment, we do mock interviews, we truly prepare them for the job market, and we give them all the necessary tools and techniques to make them self-sustainable. So this is what we do. And in case if you are interested and you would like to know more about this model, and if you would like to collaborate with us from your institution standpoint, yeah, so there is the feedback form that I'm sharing with you, and we'll also give you a participation certificate along with ANB. And thank you so much for patiently listening to me, and thank you, ANB Atmanirbhar Bharat Vocational Learning team for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to present this, session to you wonderful audience like you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mr. Tamilselvan. It was an awesome presentation, I must say that, and I'm sure people might have get a wider perspective. And as you said rightly, I'm just wanted to quote one of the Jeffrey Moss, CEO of the Parker Debut, in an interview with Forbes. I would like to highlight what he said, that companies are finding new ways of harnessing remote work. That's what Mr. Tamilselvan was stressing about. One is recruiting, using remote work as a mutual test drive to identify, access, and connect with prospective candidates, especially career launchers in college and recently graduated. And that's what our intention is. That's what we thought of, and that's how this session was organized for you all, guys. So feel free to ask any questions, whoever wants clear your doubts, because Mr. Tamilselvan is present out here, so you can interact one-to-one with him and ask. And now I will call upon the convener of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, Mr. Pradeep Singh, to say a few words. Over to you, Pradeep ji.
Thanks, Arpita ji, and thanks to Tamilselvan for the wonderful session. Firstly, I request Dr. Kasi Raman actually to say some words on this, because he's been HOD and he is with the students for MBA. So it's better to hear some words from him. Dr. Kasi, can you please?
Yes, sir. Actually, good afternoon to all, and It's my pleasure to be there in meeting for an hour. And so the maximum insights what we are getting about the industrial change, whatever it's going to be. And right now we are in very revolutionary world. So with most of digital revolution. And so as I am chairing as a head of training and placements even for the past 5 years now, we are more focusing on engineering recruitments and the last two pages, especially the last batch. What we are exactly suffered is connect the people, even though there was lockdown the same last year, and we made a lot of cycles to connect with people regarding train the students in a proper way and fit to the industry, and also we want to set their career path focusing on their placements with existing recruits and also with potential recruits. So these are all the things. And in that particular meet, the each and every information, it's a clear cut in what way we are going to work with people. As rightly said, bucketing the students, that's a real way, because it's like a precedent successor role. Automatically we can have a chain policy that the juniors can see their seniors how what they are working and what is their career pathway. So these are all the information I received, and the meet is really good, and we collected a lot of information that will be more potential for students. Thanks for this opportunity, sir.
Thank you.
I think I have done.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks.
so much.
Thanks. Tamil, any your views onto this? Dr. Kasi said on the present.
I gave all my views for last 1 hour. I think I have to now keep quiet and listen to others. So
Those who are
yeah.
colleges, they can share
Yeah,
their.
I think I would like to hear it from people who are in the
That is
field,
what
especially
that is what I'm
educationalists.
that is what I am doing actually. Those who are from colleges, those who are from those who are the HODs, those who are from colleges, please share your experiences on that, so that better interaction can be done on this platform.
And with your request, my colleague is also in meeting by name Mr. Madhu. He is right now training and placement officer.
Yeah, yeah. Please,
Yes.
please.
I
I
request
request
Madhu.
you to speak on that.
Yeah, please.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, sir.
Go afternoon.
Thank you. Things what we have to do in terms of the curricular development for the students. And yes, as Kasiraman sir said, we have faced for the previous batch, we have slightly faced an issue like to go through the things. Everything is online. So that thing we have faced, and now we can able to see what we have to do, and we will be able to train our students. The gig economy, what you said is exactly right. The gig economy has to be, it is the future for us, and we will be focusing on that part for the students.
Right.
Mr. Ravinder Reddy is there, I feel. He is there in the on the board, I feel. Would you like to share something on that? Or any other officials from colleges, those who would like to actually interact on that? I feel there is no one to speak on that. Thanks, Tamil. Thanks.
I think somebody's speaking. I think Mr. Arun Kumar, I think he wants to say something.
Please come in.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'm Gayatri here. Can I share my views?
Yeah, please, ma'am. It's always
Thank you, sir.
wonderful to welcome you.
Thank you, sir. Hiring trends, yes, it was really great to hear Tamil sir share his knowledge. Apart from that, I would really say the way he guides children, particularly I have to mention here my sincere, because it's an open platform, and I would really love to thank Tamil sir for guiding many of my students in the right career and giving them a proper guidance. Tamil sir, really, you are doing a great work, and thanks. And it's always nice to hear your knowledge and your expertise. Thank you so much for touching many lives.
Thank you so much for the very kind comment. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for Dr. Gayatri ma'am. Thanks for that. Any other views on that today's session, or should I be conclude the session for today? Okay, I think no
Yeah, I
other-
think we can. There's a person from a school. I think Narayan Rugmani ma'am. I think I wanted to hear her perspective, because see, one of the areas where I think the schools have not really partaken in this entire the what do you say, the job market thing, right? And I personally feel that the schools will have to start working on preparing students for the job market, and I think that has to start from high school. So I would like to know if anybody from the school space here who can share the views about the what kind of changes you think that is required to prepare the students for the world of work. If you can share that view, that'll be beneficial for everybody. Rukmani ma'am, you're there?
Yeah, I'm very much there. I'm very much there.
Yes.
I found your speech a big improvement, and we can try to impose all the things what you have told to our students. But with this digital world, my problem here in our Pune sector, many
Right.
of the students are not up to date, with all the facilities available to them. So we have to personally go and give it to them all, whether it is a laptop or whether it is a mobile or whatever it is. Though I try my level best to try to help them out. I was just thinking whether is there any other way where we can bring them to the field. And as you have already told, Mr. Selvan, regarding the NEP policy, I am also worried that tomorrow my school will go to a position where we don't have students, as we are not able to provide all the facilities. As my school is a self-financing school, so for last 1.5 years, I'm ashamed to say that I was not able to pay my staff also properly due to the condition what we are going on. Though digitalization is very much important, and I think it is the demand of the market, and I would love to do it. I was just thinking whether there will be any other way of making the children come for it. For example, as you said, there are vacancies, but people are not applying. I very much agree to this point, because last week I happened to see some advertisement where there was a vacancy in postal department for 10th standard pass students. And I convinced the parents, tell them, please apply, please apply. Probably the children are in such a mode, they feel that we should go into only core sector, IT sector, where we are paid more. So that was the reason today I attended your conference, because I just wanted to know whether you're going to come out with some other good ideas where I can try to implement to them. Like when you said about Swiggy, when you said about that gig sector, which I was also not much aware. So thanks to you, Mr. Selvan, that you could, give me update about it. I feel that my few children or few students and some really staff who are interested in helping us and the students, it will be very beneficial, the recording, if you send it to me later on, so that I will make them attend, as today they could not attend due to certain personal reasons. But do you think that there is any other way where we can motivate these children? Because most of them are coming from slum area, as far as my school is concerned. I'm not talking about other international and big schools. I'm talking about my school, where my children are basically coming from slum areas.
Okay, what kind of motivation you're looking for, ma'am? I mean, just want to understand what is the area where they need motivation.
Even to attend the classes in mobile. If I am giving personally a mobile, At least they should sit in the class, na? See, I might get 10 of my relatives who are ready to donate them a mobile. But it's so difficult because I'm sorry, I should not talk in that language. But I think somehow they had a feeling from the month of October, November, there won't be exams and we are going to be promoted. All these things, because in Maharashtra, it's so difficult. I think even in Tamil Nadu, we faced this problem because my niece was appearing her 10th standard exam. And in the month of February, when there was a sudden circular, state government, Tamil Nadu state government is going to pass everyone. So, the children were in a dilemma whether we have to study or not to study. Even to write the pre-board exam, they were so hesitant. She was always calling me up, should I write or not, aunt? It's somehow I think motivation to the children should be in some other way. So, Mr. Selvan, I was thinking you will be giving me some different idea, because whenever we have attended your seminars, my children were very much motivated. Last year, 2 times we have attended your seminars.
Oh,
My
thank you
3,
so
4
much.
children, my 3, 4 children were very clear and they were attending it. So maybe out of the 3, at least 1 is motivated. But out of the 35, I will be happy if my at least 25% are motivated. I'm not saying
Sure.
50%.
Let me think through and we'll get in touch with you, ma'am. And I think I don't want to hold back everybody, but definitely
Yeah.
point noted, and
Yeah.
we'll definitely come back to you on that.
Thank you, Mr. Selvan, for giving me an opportunity to talk. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. Over to you, sir. Pradeep
Thank
ji.
you for replying, madam. Of course, I must acknowledge that this is a disruption actually. I must say, last 16 to 18 months, we all are in the same boat and we all are sailing across with a difficult time. And with the education that is online education, which is going through, and due to various other reasons, board has come out with a solution that there will not be a board examination, so there will not be a marking, or the children will get passed to their get promoted to higher classes for them. This creates a different actual situations wherein people or the students, they are thinking that we need not to go for a tougher examinations. We need not to go for those subjects, those which are actually really required in their future. They are not at all thinking about the maths. They are not at all thinking about the science. They are thinking that these things will carry on. Of course, this will last whenever it will be, but it will last. And then there will be a situation where we will be facing the challenges on that. That is what the sir has told us, that there is a challenge between the eligibility standards. Suppose last year we were into this online education. Again, we are in 2021, again we are into this online education. So there is a gap. There is a education gap between the students and those requirements that is there already posted with the corporate world, with the organizations. So how come we can actually collaborate with these gaps? Because children are not going accordingly. Whatever the skills or whatever the qualifications or whatever the eligibility they're required to be, they are not actually into this because of the online mode. Some way or the other, we need to find the solution. Each and every institution is actually trying out very hard actually onto that. I must acknowledge here what Tamil has said, that whenever there is an opportunity for sales, or whenever there is an opportunity for IT skills, because I was also, when I started my journey, I was also into HR. I was working with General Internationals in Bangalore. And I do agree on that there was a difference between whatever the colleges are actually imparting the education and what exactly the corporates are looking for. There is a big gap into this. We are not trying at all that this gap is there and we need to actually cater onto that gap. We are not at all asking our children that this is the requirement of the organization. More or less in Bangalore, I must say, all the companies, they are looking only for the big companies. All are looking either for Infosys or for Wipro and likewise. And the situation is so much grim into this that each and every college is looking for the higher actually companies. So I must request all those colleges, please try to skill up your students onto that. And secondly, please try to connect with the smaller companies too. When I was in General Internationals, we were actually into all those companies which are ITIs also. which are having an ITI enabled, which are having a usability of those ITI skills too. So we were working on that. So colleges need to work on that. I know there is a disruption with this automation. There will be certain skills which will go on and off. But this disruption will take on some of the jobs. Try to actually monitor on those skills. Suppose A is going out, but there is a skill set which is B and C, which is more or less is required. Try your students to do skill up for those B and C skills. Let A to go. I do agree that because we cannot do on that because of the automation. But try to make your students to go for that B or C skills so that we can actually join up. And for the motivation part, of course, this is a tough time for all the students, all the even parents also, and all the teachers, even in degree colleges. I must say, in PG degree colleges also, there is a disruption, and this is a challenging time for all the institutions because more or less we are not able to do whatever we are doing. Okay. Someone was raising hand, I feel.
Kasiraman.
Yeah. Kasiraman, please come in.
Yes, sir. And as stated by Rukmani Madam, actually, I want to add up some about information. Over the pandemic, the last 1.5 years now, so we had a good connect with school people, and our institution normally made seek attention for motivating school children every year, and around 16,000 to 20,000 children know they are directly visiting, and it's being 3 to 3.5 hours program. It was made by Tamil cinema actor Damu, might be know. He recently received a Rashtriya Shiksha Gaurav Purashkar. Actually it's a national award, National Education Pride Award 2021. He was being the motivator, and actually over the period, so the real factor is non-availability of that electronic gadgets. Some about as Madam rightly said, the motivation level. Anyhow, all the sophisticated things, whichever in the hands of people, it is very tough. Even for the statement I said, I'm having a kid. She is right now in standard 1, and so comparatively, I'm having my friends, those who are having kids in the same grade, and school to school, some sort of differences are there. Even the board, likewise we said CBSE or matriculate or state board. The schools, ultimately, actually, my daughter's school, they had, marvelous effort. Even we can't blame any teacher, because hour by hour they are following, and even through WhatsApp, they may value the paper. That's very interesting, because to motivate the children, we are sharing the screenshots, and so based on the screenshots, they are evaluating, putting tick mark, or recognizing with the stars, some of the things. So even in grade 1, so these are all the things, normally raising the capabilities of people. Actually, nowadays the school children might get diverse things due to that social advancements, all are connected with media, but they should be in a right pathway. So we have to motivate and direct how to use the technology for adapting more success towards their career and even their personal life. It's my point added. Thanks for the opportunity.
See, I mean, the way I look at education and online education, especially for school children and college students, it's like eating ice cream with a fork. When you eat ice cream with a fork, it will fall through so only some part of the ice cream will retain. So I think we have to take it with a collateral damage that yes, it will have side effects, and till the time gets better. I mean, it's better than nothing, right? Instead of kids sitting at home and watching TV and doing nothing, some sort of education in some format is getting into them. I think we should all be happy with whatever little that we are able to do till the time comes. And I think humans are social animals and they require personal attention because it is a mandatory thing. I mean, otherwise, we all could have done learning through postal education. Why we went to school is to meet people, we could play together with friends, and we can learn social skills. So keeping that in mind, yes, this is a problem, but this problem will get solved, and we should all go back to the original classroom training. And this online training really, it's pathetic, and it's not for everybody. It's for grown-up people who can do a lot of self-study. They can do online learning. But for those who cannot be disciplined to do self-study, I think online education is not for school kids. Definitely not. We just have to live with the situation, and it's just a makeshift thing that we have found. So that's my 2 cents, 2 rupees or 2 paise. So over to you, Pradeep ji. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I must say that it's a very much fatigue for all the teachers, for all the students, for all the parents. It's really very much fatigue when we are going to online. But yes, of course, it's a temporary phase wherein we are learning. Uh, I was uh, I was going through one of the research. Suppose a child is having an age of 7 or 8. So just add on to 5 more minutes into that. That is what the duration each and every children is actually focused during this online education. So suppose a child is of 7 years, so he or she will be actually attentive for not more than 10 or to 11 minutes. Out of those 40 minutes of the class for each of the session, we must acknowledge that they are not actually needed. They are missing out that 30 minutes, whatever we are teaching them. So requesting all the teachers, those who are actually here, try to crisp your thoughts and try to crisp your knowledge in those 10 minutes, on these first 10 minutes, so that they can actually think for, okay, teacher had taught me as like this subject and we have to go for that. So this is what actually, this was the research conducted by some of the American researchers on this online education, which I have shared with you all. Thank you, Tamil, and thank you to all those who are with us and those who will be listening to us in the form of course, online education and in the form of our video also. Secondly, those who are the participants of this, please send a mail by your respective mail. So to anbws07@gmail.com, so that we can share the certificates of that. So I'm again repeating that mail ID. Please write it down: anbws07@gmail.com, or else you all can connect on by the social media handles, either at the Facebook or on the LinkedIn or the Twitter. So it's there, already been posted there. I shared this link by the mail. On that mail also, you can actually send a request for the certifications. Handing over to Arpita ji. Thanks for being with us, and let go for a closing session for the from our Arpita ji. Thanks to you.
Thanks, Pradeep ji, and thanks to all the listeners present over here. I'm sure it was really a very interesting sessions, and whomsoever have any doubts and queries or whatever, we do have a feedback form. Please do fill up. And as you all know, we have a career guidance on our platform. Mr. Tamilselvan is there. If you treat him as a motivational speaker or maybe a career builder or whatever tagline you give, the advantage we have is this, that he's approachable to us. So please avail that opportunity. That's what I have to say. And thanks for being with us, and have a lovely Sunday. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I request all, it's a tougher time, I know. Please maintain social distancing and please be at home, so that we can actually save all the lives which are into trouble, I must say. Thank you to all. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye. See you.
Yeah, we had a nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.